What's happening, everyone? What's going on? This is Jonathan Mathis, aka the Sports Judge, and I am joined by my good friend, as always, Coach Dante. Man, we got a show for y'all tonight. We got a great one for you guys tonight because March Madness is finally here. This is a great time to be a sports fan. You got a lot going on in the sports world. Free agency in the NFL is about to go bonkers, so you got a lot going on there. Jimmy G is a Raider now. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers and how he keeps the drama going and how his name is out there and everything. We'll get into that as well. Man, we got some great stuff for you tonight. Dante, how are you doing, my man? How are you doing? You're my partner in crime. It's always great. It's always great to co-host a show with you. How are you feeling tonight?
Man, well, I feel good. The Rockets got a down win tonight. That's something to be happy about. But man, I'm ready to get out into free agency talks. A lot of moves. March Madness, favorite time of the year for everybody. March Madness, man. I can't wait to go through some college and March Madness, man.
Man, and how about the World Baseball Classic? I'm watching the Team USA game. And Team USA is obliterating Canada. I mean, they're beating the snot out of the Canadians right now. But you might have saw my post moments ago. If you haven't, I basically said that because, Mike Trout had a ball that went deep.
Yeah.
He homered. They were getting hits early in the game. And this is the first time, believe it or not, that Team USA got off to a fast start because they have not been able to score runs or manufacture any runs in the first inning. So, I mean, this is an encouraging sign moving forward. But, you had a 19-year-old on the mound for Canada. And I mean, that's a lot of pressure on that young kid, I mean, that's tough in a game of that magnitude. You're representing your country on the big stage.
Yep.
And, being a 19-year-old kid, you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. So, I mean, and when you look at Team USA's lineup, you're like, I gotta face a lineup like that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of pressure on a young man, but
especially coming off of when Team USA got dominated the other night too.
Right,
and
right.
They don't want to try to come out and start hacking. And hey, boy,
yeah. So this was, and Team USA knows this game is pivotal. It's a very important game. It's a must-win, and they're jumping on Canada early. They're taking care of business as they should. Team USA, I've been saying this for a while now about Team USA. They are stacked. You look at that roster, and I mean, you got guys on that roster that can really pile up some numbers, So, I mean, it would be a absolute failure if Team USA doesn't cash in, but it's looking good so far tonight. But man, let's talk about one of the greatest events in all of sports. We got 3 weeks of what should be one hell of a tournament. And to me, Coach, this is one of those tournaments where it's hard to kind of predict who's going to win. I think there's going to be a lot of busted brackets this year because you got some great teams. A lot of people felt Alabama didn't deserve a number 1 seed. I felt they did. The reason I say that is because they pretty much dominated basketball all season long. It was them and Purdue. It was them and Purdue. It was them and Purdue. And I mean, Alabama was clearly the best team in the SEC. They blew out teams in the SEC conference. They played the best basketball. Now they're still on a quest to capture their first Final Four in school history, because they've never reached the Final Four in school history. And I like what Nate Oates has done as the head coach. I think he's done a tremendous job. With that young group, that young core of his. And I like Alabama a lot. Now, they have a tough part of the bracket. When you look at their bracket, they have a tough part of the bracket, and it won't be easy. Another team I like is the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, you can never really count them out. I think John Shire has done a great job. I mean, that's a lot of that you got a tough shoe to fill, right? You're coaching in the shadows of a legend. You're taking over for a guy who was one of the most decorated head coaches in college basketball history. We're talking about Coach K. You're coaching a program with a storied history, a program that is one of the most demanding programs in the country, and there's a lot expected of you. But I do like Duke as well. The Blue Devils have won 9 straight, and they are one of the hottest teams going in. And, I mean, you can't count them out. Now, what I like about Duke, too, is that they are a team that can bait teams into tough shots. We've seen that with them, but they could be victimized by early exit too, because they got to go up against Oral Roberts, correct?
Facts. Yep.
Yeah, and hear me out here. Earl Roberts run great offense and gets off good shots, and that's a team to really, really look out for. They love to let the ball fly, and they can be a very, very tough out. Now, another matchup I like, another team that I like is, of course, Iowa. Iowa, they can put the ball in the basket. They can score a lot of points. They can beat you in a variety of ways. That's another team I'm looking out for. Another team to look out for is Arkansas. You might have seen my joke earlier today about Arkansas, how it's pronounced. Arkansas, but yes, we all know they call it Arkansas. Now, the Razorbacks are not a team to sleep on either, because to me, the Razorbacks have the length, they have the speed, they can be a very physical team. They are also well coached. I think they'll be well prepared. And if they meet Kansas, let's say they get past, who do they have in the first round again? I don't have the bracket in front of me.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Arkansas.
Arkansas.
I know they have a tough opponent in front of them.
Let me see who
they have a tough opponent that they have to face in the first round, but I can't remember who it is because I don't have the bracket in front of me.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I do know if they do reach the round of 32, they got their hands full with the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, they can give the Kansas Jayhawks a run for their money, because I think they match up pretty well if they meet the Jayhawks. If they have to face the Jayhawks, they match up really well. And the reason I say that is because of their size, their length, and their speed. And I think if there's one team that can pull off an upset against Kansas, it's Arkansas. So watch out for Arkansas. Yep. And here's another upset. Charleston. I like Charleston.
Yep.
I keep telling people Charleston is going to knock off the San Diego State Aztecs. I can see that happening too. So it's going to be a really, really good tournament. But the Cinderella surprise to me is Charleston, Earl Roberts, Purdue. I think they've exposed themselves at times in the season. Now I know they have perennial power. Um, they have one of the most dominant players in the sport in Zach Edey. Zach Edey can ball. He's the best big man in the country. I've been saying that for a very long time. Uh, Purdue is trying to shed its negative March voodoo. They're trying to end some of the bad luck that they've faced over the years. Uh, and Purdue is definitely gonna be fun to watch against Duke. You got Cal Philip Pokawski.
Kyle Filipowski.
Yep. Yeah, I always say his name wrong. Please forgive me. You got freshman Derek Lively facing up against Edey. That would be an outstanding matchup as well. The guard play is tremendous. So that's a matchup to watch. And to me, before I hand you the floor, my friend, I just because there's so much to cover here. Memphis is probably the most dangerous 8 seed in this tournament. Memphis should have been a 7 seed when you really think about it. But Memphis showed us something. The Tigers are coming off a win over top seeded Houston. They won their conference title. They cruised to victory. Penny Hardaway has developed this young core. Penny Hardaway's team is led by Kendrick Davis, who's one of the best point guards in college basketball. So that's another team to pay attention to, and I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis make a deep run. Then, of course, I live in Southern California, so you got UCLA, who's a number 2 seed. Now, UCLA can go deep into the tournament too, but they're missing 2 of their best guys. They're missing Clark. They don't have him. He's not healthy right now. UCLA is well coached. I think they have used the fact that their seeding is not where they wanted it to be. I think they're using that as a bit of a motivation for them coming into the tournament. And I said this. You heard me say this, Coach. You might have heard me say this. They would have gotten a number 1 seed. They would have secured the number 1 seed had they beat Arizona.
How they beat Arizona in the Pac-12 championship. Yep.
That would have punched their ticket to the number 1 seed. Unfortunately, they settled for a number 2. That's another team to watch for, UCLA. Of course, Kansas is a number 1 seed. We talked a little bit about them. And then you got USC. They made it into the tournament. They're going up against Michigan State. That's my team. Tom Izzo's boys are always ready to play in March. So, it's going to be a good tournament. It's going to be fun. I haven't filled out my bracket yet. Every time when I do, Coach, fill out my bracket, it usually gets busted by the first round, by the end of the first round. Hell, on the first day it's busted, usually. I never pick right. I thought about going chalk every year since I never could get it right. But no one's gonna have a perfect bracket. It's humanly impossible to come away with a perfect bracket. But man, I'm gonna let you talk now because I said a mouthful. And what are your thoughts on this year's NCAA men's basketball tournament?
Well, my thoughts on it, as I discussed yesterday, I think Memphis can get to the Sweet 16. I like Memphis. I thought they were the only team that can beat Houston in their conference, which is they did. And Kendrick Davis is someone I actually know on a personal level, in a real life level. Went to high school out here, watched him in several ball games, how good he was. And he has proven to be a really great college basketball player, one of the top guards in the nation. I think they can get to the Sweet 16, starting by beating their first round opponent. And then I think they can beat Purdue. I think that, yes, they got 7 foot Zach Edey, but I think they have better guard play. I don't like Purdue guards. Their guards are not really actually that good. I think Memphis guards a little bit better than Purdue, so I think they can get to the round Sweet 16. Now, Oral Roberts, Duke better watch out. I think Duke got to watch out for that Oral Roberts matchup. That Oral Roberts game will not be nothing to play with. I like Charleston in the first round, and I like Louisiana, 13 seed against Tennessee. I don't like Tennessee without their guard, Kite Ziegler. I don't like Tennessee has been struggling ever since they lost their main point guard. So I like Louisiana Raging Cajuns against Tennessee, and also Penn State played a hell of that was a hell of a game comeback that they played against Purdue. I also like them against Texas A&M. I also like them against Texas A&M. Texas A&M had a great run in the SEC championship. They were a really good basketball team. But like I say, I like Penn State against A&M. So it's gonna definitely be some. I think it's gonna definitely be some first round upsets, and then another game. Another game I'm kind of looking out for. I'm looking for a 8-9 matchup. It was an interesting 8-9 matchup. I believe it was between Illinois. I believe Illinois forgot who they would end up playing, but that's a great first round matchup between Illinois. I know we don't have the bracket, so we can't pick out who they playing, but Illinois.
I believe it's Iowa, right?
No, it's Auburn. It's Auburn and Iowa. Auburn and
right.
Iowa. I like Iowa too.
I like Iowa too. Yeah. But Auburn is a team to definitely watch out for too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Charleston can definitely. I like Charleston against San Diego State. I like Charleston. That's a really good basketball team, even though they're a small school. But these small schools go out there and they play hard against these top tier schools. And also San Diego State. I mean, not San Diego State, but Utah State. I like them over Missouri. I think that's a really good team. So, and hey, this is going to be an exciting tournament. And hey, get ready, whoever, get ready for some first round upsets, man. I think it's gonna be like 3 or 4 of them this coming weekend, man.
There's gonna be some bracket busters. There's gonna be some upsets, Cinderella teams. There's gonna be teams dancing to the Sweet 16 with the glass slippers on their feet. Like we saw last year. Maybe we'll get another George Mason like we saw years ago. Maybe we'll get another St. Peter's like we saw last year. And America likes to root for the underdog, and everyone's talking about Purdue, and I understand. It has a terrific offense, great rebounding, and it plays with great discipline. I mean, I'm not going to take nothing away from them, but there are flaws. And the Boilermakers might not get out of the first weekend, thanks to, a number of their weaknesses that has been exposed throughout, the regular season, and the teams that they have to go up against in their part of the bracket as well. And I mean, there's just a lot of teams that's going to be ready to play, and all it takes.
One more matchup I like to point out. Drake versus Miami. That's a really interesting matchup as well. Drake is a really solid, good basketball team, so that's another matchup that you can look out for. That's on upset alert. I know Miami is really, really good team led by Jordan Miller over there, but Drake is a pretty interesting 12 seed.
And don't forget about Houston too. I know they're without Marcus Sasser.
Yep.
That's a huge loss for them. But Houston is still a very good disciplined team too. What I like about Houston though, they don't quit. They play with a lot of heart. They play with a lot of poise. They know how to fight back, so they're a very resilient team. And Houston is one of those teams that can go all the way to the Final Four, and that would be quite fitting, right? With this year's with Houston being the host city this year, that would be great for a team like Houston. Their first round matchup isn't easy though. They got Indiana. And I mean, Indiana is Trace Jackson Davis. I watched that brother play a few times, and man, I was just amazed by his ability to play top heavy basketball. He's a very good player. He is one of the most dominant bigs in the game, and he's drawing a matchup against physically imposing Houston, which will be a great game to watch. Another guy to watch out there too is Jalen Hood Safino, if I pronounced his name
Jalen Hood,
right as well. I mean, he could flat out ball too, you know. And then if you I mean, you got Penn State that could be a Cinderella team in that I believe that's in the East region, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will be playing in now.
Penn State, man. I feel like people are overlooking Penn State. With its backs against the wall and NCAA tournament hopes on life support, Penn State was able to fight their way into the tournament. You know, they got 8 wins in its last 10 games, including a 3-1 run in the Big Ten tournament. They peaked at the right time. And it validated its standings as a tournament team, right? So that's a team to definitely look out for as well. A team to me that can be an early exit is Miami. Now I know Jim Larranaga. I always pronounce his name wrong too.
Yeah.
Coach. I know he's done a good job with that team. This is a Miami team that made the Elite Eight last year as a number 10 seed, but I'm a bit skeptical. It can replicate that success. You know, I just don't see it happening with them. Their big man is nursing an ankle injury, and the Hurricanes have lost 2 of their last 4. So it's kind of been up and down for them, you know. And then you talked about Drake. That's a team they would have to face in that part of the bracket, which presents a real test in the first round, believe it or not. Then number 4 seed Indiana likely awaits, you know. And then the players to watch out for is Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser can ball.
Yeah, that dude can play. That
dude can flat out play. And I mean, when he's on the floor, Houston is a different basketball squad. You know, and his health has been the biggest question mark hovering over this region, right? But with a healthy Sasser, man, he's arguably the most electric scorer in the tournament, with the capability to catch fire and carry Houston to the Final Four. I mean, this dude can single-handedly carry Houston to the Final Four. And then another player to watch out for is Chris Murray from Iowa. Now, I talked about Iowa early, how they like to score. Murray was the second leading scorer in the Big Ten this season for an Iowa team that looked dangerous at times with statement wins over teams like Indiana, Iowa State, and Illinois, among others. And the Hawkeyes, like I said earlier, they can be a serious threat to advance deep in this region. I like to keep my eyes on them as well. And then, of course, Trace Jackson Davis. Another guy to look out for is Jalen Pickett. Jalen Pickett is another guy. He's become a legitimate sleeper in this field as well. He's a do it all player. You know, he has produced at a high level at Penn State. I mean, there's just so many guys, you know, that's gonna ball out. And again, it's gonna be one hell of a tournament.
Yeah, it's gonna be one hell of a tournament. It's gonna be one hell of a tournament. Like you said, Trace Jackson Davis is solid, man. He's solid. And a guy also got a couple of guys. The dude from Kansas, Jalen Wilson. The dude has been really good all year, man. The dude has been unstoppable in the Big 12, in the toughest league in the college basketball. Jalen Wilson, number 10 out of Kansas, unstoppable, very reliable scorer. And that the guy just go out there, he just gets buckets. He just get buckets every time he goes out there. And Miami, Jordan Miller. Jordan Miller can also put up points on the board. But I mean, probably the most dynamic dude maybe in this tournament, Alabama Brandon Miller. Alabama Brandon Miller, that guy can, when that guy's on, he can put on a show. When that guy on, he can put on a show. He can be electric. And it's some fun guys to watch in this tournament. And you're also gonna have some guys that stock gonna be rising by the time they get to the NBA as well.
Before we wrap up this segment, Coach, the team that got snubbed to me that should have made the tournament was Rutgers. I feel like Rutgers should have got in over Nevada. I really feel like Rutgers got a raw deal. You heard people talking about that on Sunday. People was talking about, well, how does Rutgers get left out? I can understand why North Carolina got left out. They didn't have no quad victories. Did I say that correct?
You said quad victory? Yeah. Yeah, you said that correct.
Yeah. They didn't they lost some tough games. North Carolina, to me, that was the right move by the committee to leave them out of the field of 68. So I'm not surprised that North Carolina didn't make it, but I it wouldn't have surprised me if they made it too because of who they are. They're the Tar Heels, and a lot of people like to see them in March, but they just wasn't convincing enough. They lost to Duke, and they had some tough losses. But do you think Rutgers should have made it to the field of 68?
I mean, you had a case for them that they should have made it. Oklahoma State is borderline. You could argue Oklahoma State should have made the tournament as well.
Yeah,
because West Virginia made the tournament. West Virginia made the tournament, and I thought West Virginia was actually worse than Oklahoma State. So I thought Oklahoma State deserved to make the tournament over West Virginia.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. It could have gone either way when you look at the bracket and when you look at the teams that were as talented that were omitted from the tournament and left off of the bracket. Their bubbles just burst, unfortunately, and like I said over the weekend, you're not gonna please everybody.
Yep.
There's gonna be a team at the end of the day that's gonna be left out. And you're going to hear complaints from that team. It's one of those things. And the committee had a tough job, as they do every year. Yep. And I think they made the right decisions. I think they got the number one seeds right. And now we just have to wait and see how it all turns out for all these teams. But it's going to be one hell of a tournament. But that's the end of this segment, man. We're going to move on now. We're going to talk a little NFL, man.
Okay.
Because, we got a lot going on, and Aaron Rodgers continues to be the main guy. He's like the main character of this off-season drama that we're hearing. And, free agency is about to go bonkers. Things are about to be crazy. We've already seen some big moves in football. But, man, there's no nice way for me to put it. I am tired of Aaron Rodgers. I've had it up to here with Aaron Rodgers. Actually, I've had it up to here. You can't even see my hand anymore. Look, can you see my hand? You can't. Actually, it's damn near above my sneaker rack. That's how fed up I am with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has held the Green Bay Packers hostage and the rest of the NFL as everyone waits for him to make a decision. He's made it all about himself, and we're sitting here playing guessing games, and all you hear is all these speculations because there's been, there's been weeks of speculations. People are wondering where Aaron Rodgers is going to land next. what his future will be like. And I don't even think he can fully grasp what lies ahead for him. It's like the rest of the world don't know what lies ahead for him. Now, I thought it was official earlier today that he was going to land with the New York Jets. And, you know, I think he is going to end up landing with the New York Jets. I think I think by the time it's all said and done, and once we have some closure and once we have, some understanding on what his future is going to look like, I think he will be a Jet. I think he will be putting on that green jersey and playing for the New York Jets. Now, do I think it's a great environment for him? For a guy like him? For a guy who is always in the news? No. He's a public figure that's always in the news. And like I said, let him go to New York and underachieve and underperform, and you will see what will happen in the aftermath. We will all see it, right? What will happen? The media will eat him alive. If he underperforms there and he underachieves and he pulls half of the stuff that he's pulled in Green Bay, not only will the media, but the fans will run him out of town. And it will be a crazy media circus in New York if he has another bad season like the one he had a year ago. If he has an encore season like the one we saw a year ago and he's a New York Jet, that won't end too well for Aaron Rodgers. But I'm ready for him to make a decision because he has dragged this out for long enough. Enough already. Enough already. It gets to a point where it becomes old. It becomes exhausting. And people are just tired of hearing your name. So, I wouldn't lose any sleep if he just goes away and disappears. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I know Jets fans are dying for him to say, hey, you know what? This is the end of an era for me in Green Bay. I need a change of scenery. I'm going to try it out elsewhere. I'm going to go to the New York Jets. I'm going to join a team in the AFC. I'm going to try something new. Because it's rare for an athlete, even if you're a franchise quarterback, to finish your entire career on one team. We seen Tom Brady go somewhere else before he retired. We seen Peyton Manning go somewhere else before he retired. He didn't finish his career in a Colts uniform. He ended up going to Denver and won a Super Bowl there before he left out. Same with Tom Brady. He ended up winning a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay before he decided that he was going to officially sign his retirement documents and go away. And now the same might apply to Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he goes to New York and win. It's not going to be easy because you got to go through teams like the Cincinnati Bengals. You got to go through teams like the Buffalo Bills. You got to go through teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. So good luck with that. You're better off staying in the NFC where you have a greater chance to win. So this Aaron Rodgers stuff to me is becoming old. I'm over the drama. I'm over it. I'm over it. I feel like he has hijacked the entire media cycle this offseason, as he usually does. He did last season. Everyone thought his time was over in Green Bay a year ago. And I keep saying this, Coach. I think Aaron Rodgers is better announcing his retirement. I think that would be best for him because last year, what I saw from Aaron Rodgers was a declining quarterback. I saw a quarterback That's not what he used to be.
Yep.
He is in decline. I don't know what people don't understand about that. Now you got your Aaron Rodgers fans, your loyalists who are saying, well, he had a thumb injury. So you got a lot of people jumping to his defense. Well, he didn't have the greatest offensive line. Well, the defense was terrible. Yeah, all those things are true. But I also saw a declining quarterback. I also saw a quarterback who was a narcissist, who made it all about himself. It wasn't about the team all the time. It was there was times where it wasn't about the team, but it was about Aaron Rodgers. This is a guy who is unwilling to serve as a mentor to younger players around him. I was very surprised that he was able to develop the relationship that he did with Christian Watson, the rookie wide receiver. You know, but this is a guy who is not going to look out for his teammates. We've seen that. And he feels that as a quarterback, that he is not obligated to mentor those young players around him. He doesn't feel obligated to do that. You know, and he could be a little self-centered. He could be a little egotistical. He could make it all about himself. That's who Aaron Rodgers is. He's not a team player. And I hope if he does go to the Jets, I hope that he does humble himself and be more of a team player and a leader of men. Because if he goes there and he pulls the same crap that he did in Green Bay, then he could become a cancer in that locker room. And what the Jets got going on, that could be bad for the New York Jets.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, we did see a declining quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, regardless how we slice it up, we do gotta consider the pieces he had around him was very young, and they really could get open. So it's also some stuff there that you do really got to look at. But again, at the same time, I mean, you got to be a better leader. Coming out and saying that you don't like your quarterback room, that's not something a leader would do. Him bumping heads with the front office, not getting the COVID vaccine and stuff, gets somebody else probably could have got it. That's something else right there that you would like to see. His character is getting worse and worse. It seems like every time he stays in Green Bay, the more he stays in Green Bay, the worse Aaron Rodgers seems to get. But again, the Jets are a good spot for him. I don't know if the Jets, if they get Aaron Rodgers, how sure you can tell me that they can win AFC East? How sure you can tell me if they can still win the AFC East? Yes, when you get Breece Hall back, they're going to be better. But also, you got Garrett Wilson. But outside of Garrett Wilson, I don't trust any of those other wide receivers. Yes, you got a okay tight end. You got a good defense, and there's only so much your defense could do. Now, Green Bay defense was not that bad last year. They were not really bad last year. That offense was terrible. Aaron Rodgers and his offense on the offensive side of the ball, they were really bad at times on the offensive side of the ball. So that defense, there was times that defense was on the field too long for Green Bay. So again, Aaron Rodgers, I think we should get a decision soon. What if he want to stay? What if he want to go? What if he want to go? I think we're going to assume he's going to go with the Jets. He's going to go to the Jets. That would give Jordan Love an opportunity from the start. I think they, just figuring out the compensation. I think the deal is already made. They just figuring out the compensation for the deal as of right now. But interesting. It'll be interesting to see Aaron Rodgers on the Jets and how they do. But I do not know if they can win the AFC East. I still will take the Bills. To be honest, man. And I still think, the Dolphins can be slightly better if two of them and everybody can stay healthy.
See, and that's another thing. The Dolphins, they made some big moves, as well. Actually, that's a great way we can make our transition to the next topic, because I didn't even put this on the list, but I think this is huge too. Jalen Ramsey being traded to the Miami Dolphins. Now, a lot of people didn't agree with this trade, and I was okay with this trade. And let me tell you why I was okay with.
Let them know. Let them know, Jonathan. You're around.
Yeah,
You in LA, so you know it.
yeah, and I'm okay with this trade because look, Jalen Ramsey, and you heard me say this about Jalen Ramsey. You probably heard me say this. He's a step slower now. Jalen Ramsey is a step slower. He's not the lockdown cornerback that he used to be. I think we all know that. We saw it last year. He wasn't that same lockdown corner that we are accustomed to seeing. I think the Rams moved on from him because of that, but not only because of that, but also because this Rams team is going into a rebuild of some sort. It just seems that way, right? The Rams are dumping salary. This was a salary cap dump because knowing the Rams and knowing how Les Snead operates as a general manager, he has something else up his sleeve. The Rams are not done. They're going to make a move this offseason. And that is why they decided to get rid of Jalen Ramsey. And that's what I said yesterday in the video. Jalen Ramsey, doesn't take away parts of the field. He gets beat. There's times he gets beat by opposing wide receivers. There's times where he looks lost. He looks confused. He doesn't look like that all-pro cornerback. And also, he had expressed his displeasure, basically telling the team that he wanted to be traded. So why do you hold on to a player that is unhappy? Because at that point,
they don't want to be there. Yep.
You're not going to get the best out of him.
Yep.
He's not going to perform as a top level cornerback, so you might as well see what you can get for him and move on from him.
Yep.
But a lot of Rams fans were upset about it. Now, a lot of Dolphin fans are excited about this because I keep hearing everyone say that, well, the Rams got fleeced. That's what everyone is saying. The Rams got fleeced. I really don't see how they got fleeced. I really don't. I think they're going into a rebuild. I think they're content with this move.
Yep.
They wanted to get rid of Jalen Ramsey. If they didn't want to get rid of him, they would have kept him.
Yep.
So now, he becomes someone else's treasure. He goes to Miami. I think he will make them better, of course, because he's a seasoned vet. He's a winner. Yep. He has a championship on his resume. And him and Xavier Howard playing on the other side of the field in that secondary. That's gonna be fun to watch.
That's gonna be a scary time.
And I mean, the Dolphins are doing their thing. Don't get me wrong. They're building. They're building for the future. They're making it clear that they're going all in to try to compete with the Buffalo Bills next season. And this is going to make them competitors. All these moves that we're seeing. They signed Mike White today.
Yep.
Quarterback. And I think the reason they made that move is because they know he's a solid backup. But not only that, he's a guy that if Tua goes down with another concussion, or if he suffers a life-threatening, a season-threatening injury, or an injury that could be career-threatening, God forbid, we don't want that to happen, because Tua, man, when he's healthy, he can be pretty good. We saw glimpses of him last season, and we saw what he can do when he's healthy and when he's out there. And I saw some growth. I saw some maturity. I saw flashes of brilliance from him last season. But you got to have a plan B in case he suffers another concussion, because that's been the ongoing issue with him, right? A string of injuries that has kept him sidelined. And you get Mike White from the Jets, who has the intangibles to be a starter in this league. I can see him being the starter of the Miami Dolphins in the near future. If things don't work out with him and if things don't work out with the Dolphins and Tua, I can see it. But I like that move for the Dolphins. The Dolphins are definitely going to go places next season. They look like a team that's going to be fun to watch. They were fun to watch last season. So now I know with these upgrades, they're going to be even better than what they were a year ago.
Yeah, man. That's a scary town. That's gonna be a scary town, man. That's gonna be a really scary town over there in Miami. Zadrian Howard, you know, Jalen Ramsey over there. Mike White is a surgical quarterback in case Tua, can't stay healthy. But this is built. This is supposed to happen. I mean, it was clearly the Rams were in shambles last year. It was clearly everybody got Jalen Ramsey was frustrated. It was clearly you had on the sideline issues. It was clearly it was a championship hangover from last year. Matthew Stafford couldn't compete. Then you guys had to get Baker Mayfield on basically a 24-hour notice before he ended up start playing and beat the Raiders. But it's clear they're going into a rebuild mode. And again, this was bound to happen. If you have a frustrated Jalen Ramsey acts out, then you do it. You do it. You do right by him. You don't want a guy that's on the team that says constantly saying, "Hey, I want out," because he's not going to give a full 100% on the football field if you do decide to keep him. So it's good that they did the move while they could, and it's good to get something for him. And we'll see where it goes. Matthew Stafford, you got to see your status on him. So it'll be interesting to see what the Rams do for the near future. But rebuild is definitely the right direction. Aaron Donald may not stay long. He may end up retiring soon or wanting to go somewhere else. So you definitely got some pieces that need to be correct. Guys definitely need to start in rebuild mode, and this is really the start of Leonard Floyd. I believe you guys got rid of him as well. That's a good starting point. Get some of these young guys in now, have a solid draft, and let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah, and then Jalen Ramsey is not the type of player you build around. Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp are players you build around. So I would like to see how it all plays out for the Rams moving forward. And I know that the Rams are gonna be better than what a lot of people think, because they have a very good front office. They know how to bring in the right pieces that could fit, and I think the Rams are gonna be good in good shape.
Yep. I think the Rams gonna be in good shape as well.
Mm-hmm. Now we'll move on, because there was a big signing today in the NFL. Jimmy G is moving on, and Jimmy G has signed with the Raiders. Now he is reuniting with Josh McDaniel, who doesn't have a damn clue what he's doing. I don't think he's a great coach at all. I think this will be his final year if it doesn't work out this season. Jimmy G, to me, is a game manager at best. I think he lasted as long as he did in San Francisco because of Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, you got to give Kyle Shanahan a lot of credit for saving his career, because he was in a quarterback-friendly system. And the system that Kyle Shanahan runs, that modern offensive zone system, is very quarterback-friendly. Now, we all know that Kyle Shanahan is one of the best, or at least considered one of the best designers and play callers in the NFL. And he has put his quarterbacks, whoever it is, he has put his quarterbacks in the best position to succeed. And that's why Jimmy G did as well as he did in San Francisco as the 49ers quarterback. Now, he is an injury-prone player. He's a player who throws short passes and is unable to test the deeper parts of the field. You get a Jimmy G that doesn't throw downfield passes. That's not going to move the ball consistently well if he doesn't have an offensive line that can protect him. And the Raiders have a 99 problems on the defensive side of the ball. They have 99 problems, and Jimmy G is one of them. Well, Jimmy G ain't one of them. You get what I'm trying to say? That Jay-Z, I'm trying to do that Jay-Z type thing. Just trying to be a little creative, trying to have a little fun here. But you get what I'm saying. You get the gist. But here's the thing. If they don't beef up that defense, and if they don't, get some quality offensive linemen, Jimmy G won't last long in Vegas. Jimmy G will look like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Let's just put it that way. And we all saw how lousy and pitiful that Raiders defense was last season. I mean, horrible. Absolutely horrible. And if the defense is not good enough, to come up with big stops in critical parts of the game, then Jimmy G, that's going to put a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and that could force him into making mistakes. He'll start turning over the football. He'll get too complacent. He'll start becoming reckless. He'll start making poor decisions with the football. I mean, I could see all of that happening. So, I mean, I don't know if Jimmy G is the answer. I don't think he's a major upgrade. You went from Derek Carr to Jimmy G. You basically got rid of a decent quarterback to replace him with a quarterback who is injury prone, who needs a strong running game behind him. Well, he has Josh Jacobs, but still, you really don't have a great defense, and you really don't have a strong offensive line. Now, you got all the weapons around you. You got weapons because you got Josh Jacobs, you got Devontae Adams, you got Darren Waller. You got guys that can play. You even got one hell of a left tackle as well. So, I mean, the Raiders got playmakers all over the field, but can Jimmy G distribute the ball? Can he find his targets? I think that's the big question. We'll learn more about Jimmy G now that he's on a new team away from Kyle Shanahan. Now that he's away from Kyle Shanahan, now that he's not in a quarterback-friendly system, now that he's playing alongside a coach who coached a team that was in complete disarray last season, we are really about to find out about Jimmy G.
Yeah, we definitely is. We're gonna find out about him. One thing I'm not gonna be able to take away from him, he does win games. However, we want to slice it. He does find a way to win some games, but again, he also can lose you some ball games as well. He also can lose you a lot of ball games. But other than that, man, I don't think I'm glad he's away from Houston. I'm glad it kept him away. I'm glad he was away from Houston. Thank God. God must have heard us this morning about keeping this guy away from Houston. So other than that, the Raiders, they're getting a quarterback that does win games, but can he get the ball? It's a big downgrade between him and Derek Carr. Derek Carr has been a Raider for so many damn years, and he's not. Derek Carr has been treated awfully wrong in this situation. It's wrong how the Raider Nation treated him, how the organization treated him. Josh McDaniel never wanted Derek Carr. But he settled for Jimmy Garoppolo. And we all know Josh McDaniel as a head coach. is not a great head coach. We already know that. But it'll be interesting to see what Jimmy Garoppolo does. Can he get the ball? Devontae Adams. Can he get the ball to Darren Waller? They still going to have Josh Jacobs, who was statistically the best running back in the game by last year. So they got to they haven't made any moves, any adjustments to their defense, though. They haven't made any moves to their defense. And one thing about it, their defense hurt them last year. So can Jimmy G make smart decisions with the football? Can Jimmy G get the ball to Devontae Adams when he's open? Can this defense hold up when need to be hold up? When need to hold up? That remains to be seen. But Jimmy G, he got what he wanted. He wanted to be a starter again. And let's see how it pans out for him. 34 million guaranteed. Golly. That's a lot. That's a lot for Jimmy G. A lot of money for Jimmy G. But again, you see why they gave him the money, man. He does win ball games, but I don't know. This is not gonna make the Raiders be a contender or anything. The Raiders just, the Raiders are the third best team in the AFC West behind the Chargers and we already know who, the Chiefs. So Chiefs. This move is not going to help them come up on a division. The Raiders defense aren't really good. Their Raiders defense I don't think this defense it's been a long time since they had a top 10 defense. They haven't had a top 10 defense in a while. So I don't think this move right here moved the needle, but just something that Jimmy G wanted and, Josh McDaniel wanted. So we'll see what happens next year for them.
Yep, I agree with everything you said. I don't think it really moves the needle that much. It makes them slightly interesting because it's a change at the quarterback position. All you really did is go from Derek Carr to Jimmy G. That's all you did. That's all you did. But Coach, man, we've talked for an hour now. We've ran out of time, and I mean it's been one hell of a show. We had another great episode of the Judge's Corner. And, our viewers out there, thank you guys for watching. I know not everyone watches live. I know some people check the show out later on or at a time that's convenient for them. But for those who will watch later or for those who are watching now, I want to say thank you because without you guys, none of this is possible. And we do this because we have a passion for sports. We enjoy talking sports. So if we can help in any way and bring some happiness to your life and put on a good show for you, then we're doing our part. And we are truly grateful and thankful that you guys invite us into your living rooms or into your man caves or wherever you may be. We really appreciate it. Coach Dante, do you have any final thoughts before we get out of here or any final words?
Yeah, man, it's been a great show always, man. It's a great show always having fun being up here with you, man, and being a part of the Judge's Corner. Like I say, March Madness, regardless if it's baseball or anything, man, I enjoy watching you and watching your videos. And like I say, you're one of my favorite content creators, man, because again, how you just hold your teams accountable. And, we need that passion and that's passion. And that because you want your team to do well and you want to see your team win. And when you see them underachieving, you get right at it. So definitely love it. And, keep showing love and keep showing support. But I'm glad to be up here with you each and every time I get an opportunity.
Appreciate you, brother. Likewise, appreciate you. We're gonna take the show out of here now. We are wrapping it up, guys. Again, thank you guys so much, and you guys know where to find us. Right here on Wednesday, same time, same network. So hope to see you guys on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. That would be 11 p.m. Eastern time. Catch us again on Wednesdays. You guys have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Be safe out there and enjoy the games. Peace.